back when I was coming up, you would be surprised how many people uh, took care of their families selling ice out the ice truck, riding down the street with a little truck or cart. Iceman, Iceman. And people would come and get their ice because the refrigerators didn't have freezers. The refrigerators had these boxes and that you had to keep filled with ice, and they would buy hot ice, which would last a lot longer. And that hot ice was how they kept things cold and kept things, frozen in the freezer. So you had people who made their living as icemen. You had people who made their living as shoe shinemen, and they had shoe shine shops. That's how they made their living. That was their job. That was their hustle. That was their business because, all the men wore shoes. The sneaker thing was not a thing. If you weren't playing basketball or tennis, you weren't wearing sneakers, right? So people could make a living off of that. And again, the money they made was sufficient to pay the rent. The rent was $175 a month for your 2-3 bedroom apartment. $75 a month. I'm talking about Harlem. I'm talking about, the 50s, 60s, you know what I mean, into the early 70s. This is what it was, right? So a lot of people were had different type of little hustles or whatever. They were not in the street. They were not selling drugs, like it was less than 1% of our community. We had a community then that was selling drugs. And in the latter part of the 80s, that began to increase. And so the initial attraction to the monetary opportunity that was that game, if you could make a lot of money, that became less and less and less. But during the period that it was becoming less and less and less profitable, it was also becoming more and more and more popular. So the people who were driven by wanting to become unobscured and become somebody people talked about, those types of people will be more drawn to that underground economy, and more and more people being drawn to that underground economy. So the more people were drawn to it, the more people were pulling from the pie, the less profitable it was. But because of the increase of people being involved, that's the more popular it became. So it became more so a vehicle for popularity, not so much a vehicle for profit. That's what it's come down to now. People aren't in it for profit. They're in it for popularity.